Now, when you start the pottery wheel up, whether the Artista wheel or your small beginner wheel, they can go very fast. Top speed is too fast, just like an automobile. If you go too fast, you will lose control. It's good to go no more than half speed. And as you go half speed, you can center. You can learn to balance. The higher you pull your piece, the slower the speed of the pottery wheel. Something you will also find on the Artista pottery wheel after you pick it up to use it, you'll see the pins underneath. They're screwed in, and sometimes they get a little loose. It's a wing nut you have to tighten up every once in a while. On the back of two of these bats, there are holes, and this one is round, so it should fit right into the grooves. Make sure that you line it up with the holes, and then when you're done with a piece on the wheel, you can cut it with a wire to separate it. You can take this off to dry it, and then you can put a new one on. Now, something that you might notice on the Artista wheels, they have a square bat. It's kind of an odd shape, but it does go from corner to corner, and it will fit on there. Just lock the holes together, and you have two bats. So, again, throw your piece on here, cut it. You can take it off, let it dry, and then after it dries a bit, you can use it again. Scrape it off with a paint scraper or something that you can kind of clean it down. An old rag is great for wiping anything down because you can just throw it away. Now, as water accumulates in your splash pan, you want to use your sponge and possibly soak some of it out, put it back into your bucket so that you can keep this from overflowing. You do not want your splash pan to overflow. I want to show you on the small pottery wheel, you have a small splash pan. Now, it's only a few inches high. It's good to soak out the water to make sure that your splash pan does not overflow. You do not want the splash pan to overflow and the water to get into the electrical components, otherwise it will fry it. You never want to spray your pottery wheel, ever. You want to sponge, wipe it off with a rag, something maybe you can even throw away. A sponge, you can sponge out water. This one's easy to clean. So with the small pottery wheel, you have lifters, and all you have to do is use both sides of the lifters to get underneath your pot, push down, get underneath your pot, and lift it off. There is a surge protector on the small pottery wheels. The Artista wheel, there is no surge protector. It's a little easier to keep from frying. The small pottery wheel is a little more delicate at times, so we leave the switch up so that we can go counterclockwise on the pottery wheel. This allows us to be able to work on the wheel just like the Artista wheel as we're moving, going counterclockwise. It allows us to work properly on the pottery wheel. I want to show you the side of one of the beginner pottery wheels or small pottery wheels. The switch is up, so it goes counterclockwise. There's going to be a cover over most of the switches. It always goes up. It's a circuit. If it does pop off, you can open it and turn the circuit back on. The speed of the wheel, again, about half speed. And reminder, do not get the electrical wet. So as you're working, if the splash pan starts to get a little high, you never want to go over the side. And underneath is the electrical components, so any of those that get wet will be ruined and it will fry the pottery wheel. The best thing to do in working the pottery wheel is to make sure that you keep water from overflowing, keep it out of the rain, and work on trying to keep water and speed of the pottery wheel from going out of control. In Artista pottery wheel, what we want to do is take off the splash pan. It has two separate pieces. This piece should just pop off. The other piece you have to pull with your hands. I'm going to pause it. We're going to pull out to open it up. Okay, you might have to wiggle it to get it off a little bit. This is upside down. You can see the clay that's stuck to here. The clay is going to pile up in here, or the water. So what you want to do is take a sponge, wipe it down, just get it kind of dry. And then when it's all finished, this can be flipped back over. It goes right into the slot. Make sure you don't force it too hard. There's a little groove that it goes into, and then this thing will pop back in also. So the best thing to do to clean the wheels up is not to spray them with water. There's no water spray for the pottery wheels. We can use a damp sponge, soak some of the water out, get everything off. You can wipe it down a little bit. No water sprayed on the pottery wheels. That will get into the electrical and ruin the pottery wheel. Thank you very much. Another pointer for cleaning up the pottery wheel, you can use an old rag, a t-shirt, something that you can use to help wipe it down. Just get a little damp. You can wipe it off, scrub it down just a bit. And again, if there's clay, it's just going to kind of spread all over. So what you may have to do, once it gets really dirty, is to use maybe a paper towel or any kind of sponge that you can squeeze. Dip in clean water, wipe it down. It's not something that takes a few minutes. It does take a little while to clean up. It's always good to make sure it's dry. I appreciate it. Make sure it's left as it is found. Thank you very much. Please make sure when you get a tote with any supplies, you try to wipe it down. They get really messy. So whatever condition you got it in, it may be a little dirty with clay. I try to wipe them down somewhat. If you can make sure that it's as clean as you found it, as well as the pottery wheel, that would be awesome.